welcome back to goldstocktrades.com. Today we have back here with us Greg Johnson. Greg is CEO of Prophecy Platinum. Prophecy Platinum can be traded as NKL on the TSX Venture, and it also can be traded as PNIKF on the OTC. Thanks, Greg, for being here with us today.
It's great to be back.
Greg, you just announced significant results from the 2013 Wellgreen Field Program. Talk to us about this new interpretation of this Far East zone.
Well, this is a pretty exciting development for the project. We are looking at a project that's been studied, initially discovered way back in the 1950s. As part of our approach bringing the new team in this year, we went back and compiled all of the data on the project back to the 1950s. And for the first time, I've had the ability to take a look in true 3D at all those results and put them into a comprehensive model. And what we're really excited about is the discovery that in the main zone, which is a tabular body that is typically 100 to 300 meters in continuous thickness, it was thought that as you got out of that tabular body into what were called the boundary sediments, that was the end of mineralization. And as we started going through some of this historic drilling, we realized that we had an interval that had not really been previously recognized from past drilling earlier in the 2000s that indicated that, in fact, we had a new area of mineralization that's in our pit model that potentially could be a very large zone of mineralization, and it might underlie our entire deposit. There are 3 drill holes that intercept this, and we reported these in that news release. And these demonstrate zones that were 350 meters of continuous mineralization, with some zones running upwards of 4 or 5 grams per ton platinum equivalent. So it's quite an exciting development. That zone is open in all directions, particularly to the east, and some of our drilling that we're undertaking now in this current program is looking to test both that main tabular ore body that's been historically known at Wellgreen, as well as this new Far East zone that potentially underlies the main Wellgreen deposit. So it's a pretty new development that we're pretty excited about.
Talk to us about some of the current work that you're doing. This summer you raised money in a very difficult market, and you're advancing when many other companies in the junior mining sector are having difficulty raising the capital to make these advancements.
Yeah, certainly in the Yukon where we're working, we're one of only a couple of projects that are even drilling. Most companies are sitting and just trying to survive the current market conditions. We were fortunate that with the excellent fundamentals of the company, we were able to raise a financing that was at the upper end of our target. It was at a premium to the market, and that allowed us to kick off a drill campaign this summer season that's going to allow us to put out an updated resource and updated engineering assessment, economic assessment in the first half of next year. That program is underway now. We're doing a combination of new drill holes, which are testing some of these zones like the Far East zone and some others, as well as infill work to bring more of our mineralization into the measured and indicated category, which become proven and probable reserves with a feasibility, as well as to undertake additional metallurgical test work. So, we've been able to take those funds, though that's a relatively modest financing by historic standards in this market, that was fairly sizable, and to put that to work to get excellent bang for the buck and deliver what we think is going to be really meaningful value and improvement in terms of the advancement of the project this year.
Greg, tell us about some of the goals and catalysts with this project and the advancement that you're currently working on up at Wellgreen, and how you got to this point since you've come on as CEO almost a year ago.
Well, I think one of the things that the board recognized when they went out to bring in a new team was that we'd had great success as a company in acquiring and consolidating the Wellgreen property it was recognized by the team that was here at the time that this was one of the most attractive PGM deposits in the first world, and that it had excellent potential as a bulk mineable deposit. When the board went out looking for a new team to come in and take the project to the next stage, what they were looking to do was put together a group that had the right kind of technical experience in the PGMs in the north and in the Yukon in particular, that could make this project move from early development stage into production. And I think over the last 10 months that we've been here, we've made huge strides. I mentioned earlier the compilation effort back to the 1950s. We now have a three-dimensional geologic model that's leading to new breakthroughs in our understanding of what controls where we see the PGM mineralization and the higher grades. We have a technical team on the ground now that is absolutely top-notch and includes some of the leading experts in PGMs, and they're helping us to understand subtleties that could be significant in terms of finding higher-grade material and understanding better how to develop this mine successfully. And I think what you'll see in coming months is, as we continue to add selectively to the team, that we've got a group here that's going to be able to advance this project rapidly, de-risk it, and hopefully see a revaluation even in the current depressed market that starts to reflect the underlying value of this asset as we advance it towards feasibility and ultimately a production decision.
Before we conclude, Greg, one final question. Could you highlight the importance of developing new platinum, palladium deposits in stable jurisdictions like North America?
Yeah, I really don't think you can overstate when you look at the PGMs as compared to, say, gold or copper, how concentrated the production is for the PGMs. Most of the other metals, copper and gold and silver, are distributed in different deposits around the world. But the PGM market is extremely concentrated really in southern Africa and Russia, with very modest production elsewhere. And so you have a real scarcity of deposits of scale, deposits that can produce significant quantities of metal in stable political jurisdictions. And one of the other factors is, in addition to the fact that you've got political risk in the two primary areas that produce 80 to 90% of the world's platinum and palladium, is that we have a platinum and palladium market which is really tied to the environment, and the biggest single use is catalytic converters for cleaner air. We've got a third world, particularly the BRIC countries, that have a need to clean up their air quality, and they have rapidly growing auto industries. China has surpassed the United States in terms of its size of its market, and the need to have catalytic converters and pollution controls is not going to stop. And so it's one of the few markets in the precious metals space where you see almost continuous year-on-year growth in demand coming from end users, coming from catalytic converters and other industrial uses. And since about 2004 in palladium and since 2006 in platinum, we've seen a falling supply because of political challenges, because of challenging mining conditions out of South Africa and Russia, which has seen a year-on-year fall in production. So it's almost, if you will, one of those perfect storms where you have a situation where supply is needed to increase to meet rising demand, and in fact we see mining supply continuing to fall, and we don't see any indications from the industry that those trends are about to turn around anytime soon. And so I guess I look at this market in the PGMs right now and wonder, does this look a lot like the silver market of a few years ago, where at $5 an ounce no one could make any money, no one was reinvesting in new exploration for silver, and as the demand caught up with supply and we saw that constriction in surplus supply, we saw the price spike up into the 20s and 30s and ultimately to $50, only to come back and settle back in the 20s and 30s. Are we, in the early stages of seeing a similar type of price increase in the PGMs as the demand for these metals it remains in a continuing growth pattern and no real source of large supply anywhere on the horizon. And so I think it's really quite an exciting time to be looking at the PGMs and looking at particularly development stage names that could benefit from those kind of factors. And I guess that's what we're all excited about here at Prophecy Platinum and with the Wellgreen Deposit.
Well, Greg Johnson, CEO of Prophecy Platinum, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, it was really a pleasure, and look forward to updating you again in the future.